Welcome to Discovering Historical Resources Online. This is the second webinar in a series produced for D.W. Reynolds Library's second annual eDiscovery Week. I'm Letitia Stacy, the digital librarian and archivist here in Philander Smith College's Archives and Special Collections Unit in D.W. Reynolds Library. In today's session, we'll start off by talking a little bit about what primary source materials are and how researchers are using these unique materials that are mostly found in archives, museums, and library collections. Next, I'll show you how PSE students, faculty, and staff can log in remotely to access Ancestry Library database to search for genealogical resources. Now, there are thousands of digital collection websites on the web, so I'll just briefly introduce you to four of my favorite sites to search for historical documents and images related to the African American experience. These include the Library of Congress Digital Collections, the HBCU Library Alliance Digital Collection, the Hathi Trust, and the Smithsonian National Museum of African American Culture Digital Collections. And finally, I'll give you info about some other resources and digital collections that pertain specifically to the history of Philander Smith College. So the Library of Congress defines primary sources as the raw materials of history or original documents and objects which were created at the time under study. So these raw materials such as manuscripts, photographs, diaries, audio recordings, oral histories, speeches, and even artifacts and artwork are very important because they're what researchers and educators can use to write textbooks, scholarly reports, and articles. Primary sources also serve as the basis for nonfiction and fiction works, documentaries, and even movies. So if you want to learn more about primary source materials, there's a lot of literature available out there, but I highly recommend watching this 5-minute video called What is a Primary Source by Schmoop. So if you have a few minutes to spare, just pause this webinar, go to the link on your screen, watch it, then come back and we'll talk a little bit more. Now, the Reference and User Services Association notes that primary sources are also used by historians to interpret and analyze events of the past. Scientists and scholars can also use primary sources to support research hypotheses, and genealogists use primary sources to learn about their ancestors and to piece together family histories. Another great resource to learn about this topic is Primary Resources on the Web, Finding, Evaluating, and Using. This research guide is published by the Reference and User Services Division of the American Library Association, and it includes information about finding resources on the web, ethical uses of primary sources, and there are also links to teaching guides and additional websites. So now I just want to share with you all some of my favorite digital collection websites for finding historical images and documents. So let's start out by learning about Ancestry Library Edition. Now, according to Ancestry, it is the world's largest network of online resources for family history. Ancestry Library Edition is powered by ProQuest, and the website gives subscribers access to census, military, vital records, historical city directories, newspapers, maps, family histories, and a number of other documents that are used by amateur and seasoned genealogists to explore the past through primary sources. There are also some great research aids on the site to help you get started. Now, those of you who are familiar with Ancestry, you know that it is a subscription database, but luckily for our current PSC students, faculty, and staff, the college subscribes to this service so you can access the database both on and off campus. Now, here's how you can get to the Ancestry Library from the Library Services page on philander.edu. You can go directly to the link on this page. That's www.philander.edu/library services and click on that yellow Panther search button on the right side of your screen. If you are off campus, you'll be asked to enter your credentials to access the library databases. So on the OCLC user authentication screen, just enter your PSC username and password, and then click on Log In to get to the library discovery system. Now, if you are on campus, when you click on that Panther search button, you'll go directly to this library discovery system page. But when you get there, what you want to do is just go up to the main menu and click on the databases link. The databases link will take you to a list of our library subscription databases, but you can also get to this page directly by visiting our library WordPress site at thelanderlibrary.wordpress.com/databases. And once you're there, you can scroll down on the page to the Reference Databases section and click on the link to Ancestry Library. Now here's the home page for Ancestry Library Edition. And you can tell that you are logged into the campus subscription if you look over in the right-hand side of the page and you see Philander Smith College. Now there is some sensitive information on this site, so I won't be able to use specific examples in this webcast. But before you get started on your own search for genealogy resources, be sure to go to the Learning Center and read the research guides that they've developed. I recommend reading Ancestry Ann's Top 10 Search Tips, the 10 Census Tips, and the document about African American family research. There's also a fantastic LibGuide for Ancestry Library Edition that's been developed by ProQuest. And this includes links to video tutorials, researcher tools, there's also search tips, and more to guide you on your research. So the next site I want to tell you about is the Library of Congress Digital Collections. And the Library of Congress has millions of items in their physical collections, and that includes printed materials, audiovisual recordings, artwork, manuscript, legal documents, maps, and more. And according to the Library of Congress, they also have the world's largest collection of legal materials, films, maps, sheet music, and sound recordings. The Library of Congress has digitized thousands of these items and made them available to the American public for research purposes. So you can go to loc.gov/collections to view their digitized content. Now, there are too many notable digital collections on this site to count. But if you're interested in historical documents, images, and other primary source materials related to African Americans, I highly recommend you view the African American History digital collections. Now, it might be a little hard to see, but if you're on the main digital collections page, then you look on the sidebar on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the option to refine your results. If you click on more subjects, then you can browse through the subject headings listing and click on African American history to view some of the collections on this topic. Now you can also go up to the main search box at the top of the page and enter a keyword phrase in the search box to search within the collections. And some of my favorite collections of primary source materials in this collection include Slaves in the Courts, From Slavery to Freedom, a pamphlet collection, and the Frederick Douglass Papers. There are also some great images of African Americans in the Gladstone collection, and there's a series of oral history videos from individuals who were active in the civil rights movement that is available for viewing online. Another great website for primary resources about African Americans is the HBCU Library Alliance Digital Collection. Philander Smith College is a member of the HBCU Library Alliance, which is a consortium of academic libraries who are dedicated to preserving and sharing the cultural heritage of historically black colleges. If you'd like to learn more about the activities and the strategic plan of the Alliance, you can go to hbculibraries.org. Now, there is a link to this digital collection site on the main homepage, but if you want to go there directly, you can go to the URL that's on the screen there. The HBCU Digital Collection site is powered by Content DM, which is a digital collections platform. So you can go to the main menu and browse through all of the collections on the site, or you can enter a keyword into the search box. And you can also scroll down on the list of institutions listed on the digital collections homepage to just go directly to their collections. There's also a help page if you want to learn more about how to navigate and search for items on the Content DM platform. Now, PSC does not currently have any digital objects linked to this site, but please bear with me because it is on my to-do list. But the website is a great way to access images and documents from a number of HBCUs, from images and documents from the late 1800s to the present. You can find these all in this one place through this database. So please keep in mind that there are some copyright restrictions on some of these materials. So when you click on an item to view it, be sure to go down and read through the right statement for each member institution to make sure that you're in compliance. The Hathi Trust Digital Collection is the repository for over 100 research institutions. And if you go to their About page, you'll see that there are over 15 million digital volumes on this site, as well as 7 million books and over 40,000 serials available online. And according to the Hathi Trust, their goal is to provide long term preservation and access services for public domain and in copyright sources from various partner institutions. So, although there is some content on this site that is limited to partner institutions, there's a lot of material on here that is available to the public. So, you can search for items on the Hathi Trust repository by submitting a keyword search. There's also an advanced search option available. But there are some notable digital collections that you can just browse through by going to the Collections tab on the main menu. The African American Historical Publications Collection includes digital editions of annual reports from the Freedmen's Aid Society. So, for those of you who are interested in the Methodist Church's role in the development of Philander Smith colleges, these editions are a great source of information. So, when you open up the digital editions, you can search through full text documents to find info about the earliest days of Philander Smith College as recorded by the Freedmen's Aid Society in the late 1800s. The African American imprints at Emory University includes over 900 publications from the Emory University libraries. The earliest item in this collection is from 1699 and the latest is from 1923. So there's a wealth of information in these documents that researchers can use to find firsthand accounts of African American life in this country for over 200 years. And last but not least on my list of favorites is the National Museum of African American History and Culture. Now, this Smithsonian Museum opened up in 2016, and according to them, it is the only national museum devoted exclusively to the documentation of African American life, history, and culture. The physical collections include over 30,000 artifacts, and they have now made some of these items available online for viewing. Now you can go directly to the digital collections page to browse or search for items, but you can also search for items by a featured topic on the page. I recommend browsing through the American South, religious groups, and education from the topical view. So there's also a new hip hop music history collection on the site as well, so you may want to check that out. Now, just about everything in the Philander Smith College archives is related to the history of the college, but if you want some background information about the founding of the college, please feel free to come by the archives and browse through the PSC History Collection, the George R. Smith Documentation Collection, and also read the Lois Gibson's Historical Study of Philander Smith College, 1877 through 1969. And again, all these items are available for viewing in the archive. You can also go to our digital collection site and view the PSC Buildings collection and the Presidents of Philander Smith College exhibit. On the Winifred D. Polk archives, they've also digitized the Woody D. Lester's History of the Negro and Methodism in Arkansas and Oklahoma. And this text includes sections on Philander Smith College. And if you'd like to find out more local and regional sources of primary source materials, be sure to check out the resources page on the digital archive as well. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you learned a little bit more about discovering historical resources online. And if you have any questions or comments, I'm available in the PSC archives from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And be sure to tune in to the final webinar for this year's eDiscovery Week series. In the next screencast, we'll discuss some academic library trends. So thanks again.